Hello everyone, welcome to Delicious News Kitchen. Here we cook indigenous meals while we tell true crime stories from my state and around the world. Today I'll be cooking porridge yam with this cow tongue with a little twist. So just stick by, enjoy while we gist. So today's story is about a young man who did something very mysterious. And this young man, let's just call him Mr. M. Mr. M is a 39-year-old bricklayer who we all know as someone who is very hardworking, who has tested life, like he has seen the hardness in life. And Mr. M is married, but something happened after he got married. For years, he has been married to his wife. They've not been able to have a child. And like an African man, they've tried all they could. They've been to places, they've taken a lot of medicine, but still, the inability of the wife to get pregnant was really a concern to this family. And because of that, they became suspicious. Yes, they became suspicious that it might be a case of witchcraft. And who was this wizard in the family who was responsible for her not being able to get pregnant? She confided in her husband that she was suspecting her father-in-law, who is her husband's father, that she believes that the father-in-law is a wizard who is the cause of her misfortune, who is the cause of her inability to get pregnant, that she was so sure that it was the father-in-law. And then when she told the husband this, the husband was angry, and then he was frustrated. For so many years, they've been trying to have a child. They've tried so many things. And so when the wife came up with this assumption that the father might have been the cause of their misfortune, he was really angry and frustrated. But he took this suspicion to heart and he started judging his father with that suspicion. And then him on his own part, he was already like having the suspicion too that his father might have been the cause of the wife's barrenness. And so one day he confronted the father. And like every other household, when there's an argument, there was a heated argument, people came out to see how they can, see how they can settle the arguments between Mr. M and his father. But the argument just went on, and there was a lot of accusation. The father tried to defend himself that he is not responsible for the wife's misfortune. But Mr. M was not having it. And he was so angry, like he was so frustrated at this point. So the neighbors, the community, everybody came out and tried to see how they can, solve this argument. But Mr. M was not having it, that the father is the cause of all his misfortune, the father is the cause of all the storm in his life, that the father is a wizard, and that the father should confess, and that the father should release his wife from barrenness. And before you know it, there was just this rage that Mr. M couldn't control. And then he now, with his hand, he just, pushed him, and then he fell to the ground. And since his father is already an old man of over 60 years, and that kind of push that came from a young man was really hard on him, and he just fell to the ground, and he just lay there. He couldn't do anything. He wasn't moving. And by this time now, a lot of people had gathered. A lot of people are asking what is going on, what is happening. A lot of people are talking about it. And then some other neighbors now said, okay, let us, even if the man is not moving, let us carry the man inside. And so at this point in time, the anger in Mr. M's heart has gone down. Like, he was not asking himself, what has he done? What has he done? What has he done? Just seeing his father just lying down there, helpless, lifeless, and not moving. And so they helped him, and then they carried his father into the house. And when they got in, normal trying to help resuscitate him and all of that, but it wasn't working. So Mr. M just said, okay, that they should leave him, that maybe later on he will come back to himself. And so everybody left the father there. And then the following day, Mr. M came back to the room. When he now came back to the room, he didn't come alone. He went and hired a pattern medicine vendor, and then now brought the medicine vendor to, come and see what is wrong with the father, how he can help salvage the whole situation. So when the medicine vendor now came, they knocked on the door, there was no response. They waited, there was no response. And then he just felt that, okay, maybe the father is sleeping. So they went inside. And when they went inside, they realized that the man has spy in his sleep during the night. And he did not know what to do. And you know how news flies in a small community? Before he could even blink, the news was everywhere that Mr. M has spied his father out of anger and out of superstitious belief that the father is responsible for the misfortune in his life, especially for the wife's barrenness. And the community now held Mr. M down. They handed him over to the police, and the police had to arrest him. So when the police arrested him, they took his statement. They now asked Mr. M, what happened? What do you have to say? And then he said that he was suspecting that his father was a wizard, that the father was the one who was tormenting his life, who was the cause of all the difficulties in his life, that the father was the person who was, tormenting his life. And then he decided to confront the father, and then things escalated. And then when he came back the following day, he found out that the father had died. So in this my meal, I'm actually cooking yam with cow tongue. So I actually had to go to the market very early to be able to get fresh cow tongue. And then I got this new yam. Also from the market. So for the fresh cow tongue, I just had to wash it with very hot boiling water so that I can peel off the outer skin, and then wash it again with warm water and salt, and then cut it up and season it, and then cooked it just to make it very flavorful. And then I'm going to cut my yam. I like my yam in very tiny bits. So this is going to be a bit of porridge yam, but not like the porridge yam that we are very used to. So I'm just going to cut my yam in very tiny bits, and then I will cook it. So back to our story. By this time, the whole news is everywhere. The police has stepped into the matter, and Mr. M was arrested. And so when he was arrested, he was detained, and then the state took over the matter, and he was taken to court. So he was taken to court. And then just like every court case, the court case lingered on for a while, and there were just a lot of forward and backward and everything. So by this time my meat is already boiling, and as you can see, it's really looking nice already. So I'm just going to stir that in, and I'm going to take out a part of it. And then I'm not going to use everything for the porridge yam. That would have been too much for my pot. So I'm just going to take out some and set it aside while I continue with my yam. So yeah, that is what it looks like. And God, this is my favorite part of cow. I don't know if the meat is called beef, but the cow tongue is my favorite part to eat in cow. I literally go to the market very early to wait for it to come out from the slaughter so that I can buy a full tongue. Like, I can eat it all day. When we talk about what's my favorite protein, just give me cow tongue, please. I love it. And that's it. So I'm just going to take out a part of it and just put it in a smaller pot, and then I'll continue my cooking in this other pot. So back to our story. Mr. M was charged to court, and then the court case began, and evidence were presented. But the judge picked out something, because the judge said that looking at all the evidence that was presented, that there were some crucial elements that were actually missing from the prosecution's case, which was a premeditated intent to kill. So the justice said that he has observed that even Monday, Mr. M's decision to call a medicine vendor also showed that his intention was not to kill the father, even though everything that happened, the whole argument, the blows, the fall, everything resulted in the death of his father. But his original intention, he didn't have a premeditated intention to kill the father. And so in his judgment, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for manslaughter instead of murder, which is actually a lesser offense, and it carries, even though it still carries a heavy weight, but it was a lesser offense for Mr. M. And so Mr. M was reprimanded in prison to serve his time in prison. And so that's what happened. Mr. M lost his father. He lost his wife, who eventually, would just go on with her life just because of a superstitious belief, which we can't still say if the father was responsible for his misfortune or if the father was not responsible for his misfortune. We do not know. So, back to my cooking. Yeah, I know you're asking me what is carrot doing in this meal, but that's why I said it was yam with a quick twist. So this is where the twist coming. I like to cook my yam this way for several reasons. I like to just add vegetable to it. I like it, crunchy, and I'm just eating the yam in smaller bits, eating my protein in smaller bites, and then having protein all in it. So I'm just going to scrape my carrot, cut it up. I'm going to, sometimes I do add a cabbage, but I didn't get cabbage at the time I went to this market. I also like to add colorful bell peppers, but I went to market very early and it wasn't available as at the time I went to the market. So what is going to be the predominant vegetable in this meal is just going to be this carrot. And I love carrots for the variety of nutrients and the nutritional value it adds to your meal, especially for my eyes. Carrot is really good. So if you're looking at having a very good, healthy eye, so you need to incorporate carrot in your meal. So I'm just going to cut my carrots and set it aside. I like to cut it in, bigger chunks than the usual if you're using, not like if you're using it to cook maybe fried rice or something. But I like to have it in a bigger chunk because I like to eat it alongside with my yam. So that is just me cutting my carrot into just how I like it. So at this point, if you don't like carrot in your meal, or if you don't like steamed carrot, so you can, skip the carrots. But I actually really do love steamed carrots. So that's why I added. Sometimes people say steamed carrot can be bland in taste, but I don't think it's actually very bland. I think it's actually, it has this umami taste or something, but I don't think steamed carrot is very bland. I really love it. So I always have a way of incorporating it into my meal. So my carrot is done. I added some green bell pepper. I didn't see the red and yellow bell peppers at the time I went to the market, so I added onion, and this is just what my yam look like. It's a mix of, or it's in between calling it a porridge or calling it a pepper soup, because I added a little bit of vegetable oil to it, and I added periwinkle. Did you see that? Yeah. What is yam without periwinkle? I just love to add periwinkles in my meal. And so guys, so this real meal as at this time, it was really, really, it was already, the aroma was already everywhere. By this time, I was already like waiting for it to be ready so I could just, eat. So yam is already soft. When you see the yam, the water taken up, that yam is cooked, that's cooked through. it's already soft. So I'm just going to add a little bit of, you know, vegetable oil just to give me that porridge feel and all of that. So you can, you know, skip it, or you can add palm oil if it is what you love. But for this recipe, I just wanted to add vegetable oil, and so that was what I use. So in goes my vegetables, and just stay to combine. And by this time, you know that your food is almost ready. So there are people who like their yam to be more mushy. I do not really like my yam to be mushy for this particular recipe. But if you like your yam to be mushy, you can, you know, overcook it, or you can use a potato mash to just mash it all up, or you can maybe use a mortar to mash it all up. But I don't really like my yam mushy. So guys, this is it. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to cover that up and allow the vegetable to steam boil for a while. And you can also toast in scented leaf if you like hot leaf. I added about 3 types of leaf. I added scent leaf, added what we call green leaf, and I added a little of otasi. Otasi has a little bitter taste. So guys, this is what it looks like. Tell me, is this something you would like to try? What do you think of my story? What do you think of what Mr. M did? What do you think you would have done differently if you were in that situation of suspecting that your father or your relative is the cause of your misfortune? How do you think you would have handled it? What do you think Mr. M would have done differently from what he did? And did you think that the judge was fair enough in his judgment? Guys, let me know. I would love to read from you. Please, if you're just seeing our channel, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. We'll be coming to you with more beautiful and interesting stories, and I know that you're going to love it, so just stick around. For now, let me enjoy my meal, because I cannot wait to eat this goodness. Come on, look at that. Look at that cow tongue. I mean, I could eat it every day and always, like, without even being tired. Look at how it looks. God, thank you guys. Bye.